And now, a brief retelling of a history of violence. Hey, Joey.
Yeah, that's not me, man.
Hey, Joey.
It's not me.
Hey, Joey.
We got the wrong guy. It's not me.
I think it's you, Joey.
It's not, man. Can I get you a coffee?
Joey.
Sorry, man. It's not me.
Go get me a coffee, Joey.
It's not me.
Joey.
Sorry.
Joey.
I got to run back to my house.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this is Forgotten Cinema. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we always recommend you revisit it. If you like Forgotten Cinema, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and obviously YouTube. If you're watching us, we have a backlog of over 300 episodes for your listening pleasure. Hey, Mike.
I think that was the best one you did yet.
Because I'm cool. Why are you laughing? What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. I don't know if you know this, but I just live a simple life at my coffee shop. I put my past behind me that, not a lot of people know about. In fact, nobody knows about it. Yeah. But when two guys try to rob my little slice of heaven,
they're going to do more than rob.
Yeah, they're going to kill us all and do terrible things. I smashed him with the coffee pot, shot him in the face. Yeah, I did a lot of terrible things to them.
You did what needed to be done.
Yeah, I did what they deserved it. So they got what was coming to them. And, then I got put in the public eye. All these newspapers were printing about me. I'm a hero. But it turns out that's not so great because all the people that did know me back in the day from my other career, came back to look for some vengeance, including one-eyed Ed Harris. And things aren't looking good for me. So now I have to use my violence over and over again in front of my family that didn't know about my past life and kind of ruin their lives in the process.
Oh, I mean,
turns out there's something to be said about
protect their lives. Save their lives a little bit there.
The ungrateful little.
Making the biggest thing of meatloaf I've ever seen at the end of the film. Anyways, yes, we are talking about David Cronenberg's 2005 film, A History of Violence. Let's get into the facts and then we'll get into what we thought about it. Butler has never seen this film. I have, so it'll be interesting. All right, History of Violence.
I've seen it now.
Obviously. That's the whole show. That's the premise of the show. History of Violence is a runtime of 96 minutes. Rated R. Production budget of $32 million. Came out on Friday, September 30th, 2005. Technically, it came out in a limited release, the 23rd, but that was only for 14 screens. So we're going to do the wide release date, which is the 30th of September. Opening weekend, it did $8.2 million, domestic $31 million, international $30 million for a worldwide total of $61 million. Production company was New Line Cinema and Bender Spink, and it was distributed by New Line Cinema. Said it came out on the 30th. So let's go back to the 23rd and look at those wide releases of Flight Plan, Roll Bounce, and Corpse Bride. Those sound familiar?
What's Flight Plan?
Flight Plan is with Jodie Foster, where she's taking her deceased husband back on a plane with her daughter.
I've seen Flight Plan.
The daughter goes missing. And
Flight Plan and Corpse Bride, yeah.
Yep. You haven't seen Roll Bounce with, oh man. Is Bauer in that? Is that who it is? I think so. I'm not sure.
No.
That takes place in the 70s with it's like a lot of roller rink stuff, like, choreographed dance, disco, roller rink stuff. Anyways, you had a limited release that week of Dirty Love, Daltrey Calhoun, and Dear Wendy. I've actually seen Dear Wendy. That only came out on 7 screens. That's actually the highest total. Wow. That's with Jamie Bell and what's her face? She's in the Star Trek. She's in the Picard series of Star Trek. She plays the science, the woman who's like into the science, and then she gets like infected. Alison Pill.
Alison Pill. Yep.
There's a couple other people. It's about these like kids that have this they form this gang called the Dandies where they carry weapons around, but they don't use the weapon. It's a weird movie, but the trailer comes on. I'm just like, I've seen this film. Wow. You had a wide release on the 30th. You had a wide release of Into the Blue, Serenity, which we have done on the show, and The Greatest Game Ever Played, and the limited release of the prize winner of Defiance, Ohio, and Capote, which I have seen both.
I've seen Capote.
You've seen the prize winner with Julianne Moore.
Nope.
Woody Harrelson, their family. She's like a family. She's like 8-10 kids, and she starts winning. She wins jingle contests. She writes jingles and she wins, and that money's coming in. Woody Harrelson's like, they're like, it's like in the 50s. Or 50s or 60s, and he's like, he's all angry about that. He feels.
Did she start winning the money?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Anyways, and Into the Blue is the Jessica Alba, Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin is in that too. Then you had the 7th, the week after, but the 5th, that Wednesday, you had a limited release of The Squid and the Whale, and then on the 7th, you had a wide release of In Her Shoes, Two for the Money, Waiting, and The Gospel. And also Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, Butler favorite, and a limited release of Where the Truth Lies and Good Night and Good Luck.
I've seen Good Night and Good Luck.
Yeah. On Broadway now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this film is directed by David Cronenberg, who has done The Fly, Existenz,
A movie we did,
Crash, and Dead Ringers, to name a few. Written by Josh Olson, who's done Infested, Trigger Warning, and the video game Batman Gotham Knight. I guess he wrote the screenplay and then some of the segments.
Good for him.
Cinematographer was Peter Shahitsky. Oh, man. Who did Crawl, Mars Attacks, and Empire Strikes Back.
Hey.
Composer was Howard Shore, who was nominated for an Oscar for Hugo, and he won for 2 Oscars, one for Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring, and he actually won, he won 3 Oscars. He won 1 for the Fellowship for the score, but then he won 2 for Return of the King because he won for the score and for a song for music. Edited by Ronald Sanders, who's done Coraline, Johnny Mnemonic, and The Dead Zone. And produced by Chris Bender and J.C. Spink. Bender has done The Butterfly Effect, Where the Millers, and The Parenting, which is an HBO, it's an Max film coming out. And then Spink has done Just Friends and Monster-in-Law. And he also worked with Bender before he passed away, actually in 2017. They obviously combined in a bunch of other films as well. Viggo Mortensen is our main character here as Tom Stahl. And then you find out later he's Joey Cusack. He is nominated for 3 Oscars. Butler, do you know which movies?
Green Room, not Green Room. Yeah, Green Room, not Green Room.
Green Book.
Green Book.
We did it. We did the movie.
Yep. I'm blanking on it.
Really? Eastern Promises.
Eastern Promises.
Also directed by Cronenberg.
And
you won't get this one. He's a father of kids that are homeschooled.
No clue.
Captain Fantastic.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Maria Bello as Edie Stahl, Tom's wife. She's in Coyote Ugly, The Cooler, Prisoners, and she's also on the TV show NCIS for a couple seasons. Ed Harris as Carl Fogarty, our second to main bad guy. He is nominated for 4 Oscars: The Hours, Pollock, The Truman Show, and Apollo 13. I didn't have you play that game because we did that already.
We've done that like twice.
I know. William Hurt as Richie Cusack is Joey Cusack's older brother. Right? Older? Younger?
Yeah, older. Brother, yeah.
And the head of it, he's kind of like the head of the organized crime, that Cusack family. He's in Lost in Space, the one they did in 1998. He's also been nominated for 3 Oscars, Children of a Lesser God, the Broadcast News, and he won for Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Ashton Holmes as Jack Stahl. Jack Stahl is the son of Tom and Edie. He's the older son. He's in the TV show The Pacific and the movie Wind Chill. Peter McNeil as Sam Carney, the sheriff. He's in Open Range, Frequency, in the TV show The Good Witch.
Open Range, a movie we did.
Yes, sorry. Frequency, a movie we talk about always.
We talk about it. It's on the list. We've just never done it yet.
Greg Burke and Stephen McHattie are Billy and Leland, respectively. Those are the 2 bad guys in the beginning of the film. McHattie has done Shoot 'Em Up, The Fountain, 300, and Watchmen. And
you like Shoot 'Em Up, right?
I do like Shoot 'Em Up.
I gotta watch it.
And Burke is he's in 2 of the Saw films, Saw 5 and Saw 3D. So I'm assuming Saw 3D is Saw 6. And he's also in Ad Astra, which I was trying to remember where he was in Ad Astra. He must be in like one of the smaller parts, obviously.
One of the moon buggy guys.
Yeah.
Gets murdered.
Kyle Schmid as Bobby, aka the kid I could not stand in this film. I'm glad he got the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah.
He's in the TV show, the sci-fi TV version of Being Human, which I actually watched. He's also in the TV show Copper, TV show 6, and he's the new one that just came out. He's in NCIS Origins, which is on Paramount Plus, I believe.
I used to watch Copper.
Copper? Yeah, Copper's on AMC. No,
it was. History? It only lasted like 1 season.
6 is supposed to be, that's on History Channel. That's about SEAL Team 6. That's supposed to be pretty good.
Oh, okay.
And then that's about it. You had the daughter, the young daughter that's played by Heidi Hayes. She doesn't really do much after this. Her name was Sarah Stahl in the film. And then his kind of Jack Stahl's girlfriend, Judy Danvers, that's played by Sumela Kay. She was actually the first Kitty Pryde in the X-Men film. So she must have been in the background because then she's replaced.
I think she just runs through a wall in like the second movie.
Yeah, so that's her big claim to fame. She's also Simon Birch. And the only reason I say that is because that's the first the first date I went on with my wife at the girlfriend at the time was, well, not girlfriend. She was going to be my girlfriend. That was our first date. Simon Birch. The movie's. All right. Anyways, that's the film. That's the facts. Actually, no, I got 2 more facts. Sorry. Apologies. I got some more facts. This film's limited release. I said it was 14 screens on the 23rd. During this time, this is when Hurricane Katrina happened, August 29th. So it's funny because when you look at some of the, not funny, but when you look at IMDb Pro and you look at like the weekend takes and stuff like that, it's for the whole month is like Hurricane Katrina. So they must think that affected their box office at some point. Okay, I guess I get that, but for the whole month,
yeah.
I mean, I know it was a big deal, obviously. So they have that. This film is based on a graphic novel by John Wagner and Vince Locke, but that really doesn't matter because Cronenberg didn't know that when he signed up for the movie.
I don't like that note.
Yeah, he just didn't know.
I don't like it because it's based on a comic book, and all superheroes, no matter how heady they try to be, are just garbage. Like, get your head out your ass. Art is art. It's not like I hate that. That made me really not like. That's a big knock to Cronenberg. Like I was like, I'm surprised Cronenberg of all people said that.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's a dick quote.
Why? Because he doesn't like it.
Well, he put down comic books as a whole.
Yeah,
like, as a whole genre. Like, no.
He has his opinion, subjective. All right.
It's still, you don't knock other art.
I've done with people that, please, people knock art. That's competitive.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But it's a shitty thing to do.
All right. So this film has 2 Academy Award nominations. One for Best Supporting Actor for William Hurt and one for Best Writing Adapted Screenplay, Josh Olson. So we're going to play that game.
Oh, my God.
All right. So William Hurt did not win, obviously. So I'm going to give you the people that were nominated for Best Supporting Actor. You tell me who won. You ready?
Yes.
So Matt Dillon for Crash.
Okay.
Paul Giamatti for Cinderella Man.
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney for Syriana. And Jake Gyllenhaal for Brokeback Mountain. Who beat out William Hurt that year for Best Supporting Actor?
Is it Crash?
It was not Matt Dillon, no.
Oh, wow.
It was George Clooney for Syriana.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, well, yeah, it's right because I'm telling you it's right.
I remember, that's the movie he broke his back.
Yes,
or
during the
spinal cord or something like that.
Yep. Hey, okay, so now let's do the other one. Best Writing Adapted Screenplay. Josh Olson did not win, which I find is funny is that the original script for this, Viggo Mortensen did not like. And then
it was like over 120
he signed on because Cronenberg took the script and reworked it. So technically Cronenberg wrote the script, but that's fine. So this movie did not win Best Script Adapted Screenplay. It went up against Capote by Dan Futterman, The Constant Gardener by Jeffrey Kane, Munich by Tony Kushner and Eric Roth, and Brokeback Mountain by Larry McMurtry and Diana Osana. What won Best Writing that year? Adapted Screenplay.
Brokeback Mountain?
Yes, Brokeback Mountain did win for Best Screenplay. Good job, brother.
I was going to say it was either Brokeback Mountain or Capote because I remember being mad that Munich didn't win enough awards that year.
Munich is great. And when we're going to be doing it next season, this season. This season.
I think it's the very last
coming up.
This season.
All right. Those are my facts for the movie. We'll get into, I got other ones little in there, which will pop in. But Butler, what'd you think?
So I'm watching it. I put this movie in and we talked about it last week. And I have a quote by Elise, which is actually in my phone, which is being used as my close-up camera. So I can't read the quote exactly. But I picked this movie on the list of Patreon choice movies and has been on the big list for a while because Elise had always told me it really upset her when she saw it, I guess in 2005, that the violence was really violent and she said it was rapey and whatever. And so I'm watching this movie. I'm waiting for, and I'm reading some of the notes, like it's the most brutal action movie. That's not a brutal movie. That's not a horror movie of all time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm watching the movie and I got to say, this is not my favorite Cronenberg. This is of the Cronenberg films I've watched, and I have not watched all of them, but I've watched a few, or quite a few. This is definitely, I think, this is the lowest one on my list because I don't think it goes to the places it needs to go to really affect me. Affected Elise somehow. She said she actually had to leave the room during one scene, which I assume is probably the coffee.
The
coffee shop robbery, I imagine. But yeah, I think there's a lot of lost opportunities with this film. I don't think it goes far enough with the violence. And I know in the notes he says he didn't want to glorify the violence, but I also don't think he horrified the violence. I don't think he went either way with the violence because the whole time I'm thinking, well, these guys got what they deserved. And I didn't feel I didn't feel anything during these violent
when you
scenes.
say these guys, you mean the
mean
ones
like
in
the
diner?
coffee shop guys. I mean when what's Ed Harris's
Fogarty.
When Fogarty's men get killed, like these men are terrible people who got what they get. And the bully scene, again, the notes were like, oh, it's really violent. It's really like, I read the adult notes, like for parent guide, like level of violence. It's like severe. Oh, the bully scene is so bad. Like, no, he gets slapped in the nose and he gets a nose. Like, I was really just like, this movie's okay. It's tame by today's standards. I don't even think in 2005 standard, it's really crazy. You know, Elise says it really affected her. And I asked her, I was like, after she gave me that quote, I was like, had you seen 7 already? She's like, I had seen 7 and owned it. But 7, everything you see is an aftermath. You don't see the violence happen. It already happened. So I think she says that's why it didn't really affect her. But 7 affected me. It's like the only movie where the violence kind of affected me. And again, you don't see anything. You see all this violence. And I couldn't care about the characters. I couldn't care about the violence. The movie was just kind of a letdown for me. Some of the action was cool. And like I said, the guys got what they deserve. So I was kind of like, oh, yeah. But other than that, it's short. I like that.
Okay. So a movie that's described as one of the greatest films of 2000s, you're like, about.
Yeah.
Really? Interesting.
It happens, man.
I find it, but
again, I'm coming at it 20 years removed.
You are.
So movies are way more violent now.
And you're also comparing your watch to what you have heard. Like you're
exactly.
You're saying like, oh my God, at least you need to walk out. And so you're expecting that you should walk out or you should be upset with it. But if I find that weird that you're like comparing it to like what everyone's telling you it's so bad, but you're like, I've seen worse.
But I think that's what happens when you don't.
Right.
Because the same thing, like I think I've talked about it in the podcast before.
Probably.
Like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I didn't see for the longest time. I just didn't watch it growing up. And Elise loved the movie. Her father loved the movie. Even my parents loved that. And I don't know why they never had me watch it. I watched it finally in my 20s. And I was just kind of like, it was funny. And I quote it sometimes. I like it a lot. But I didn't think it was the greatest comedy of all time because the buildup going toward it, your expectations, it can never live up to as you're watching that and you know about it.
So I'm going to go. So no one's watched this yet. Probably not. But if you have, I'm going to go to our Sinners Now Watching episode where I told you that sometimes I need a second watch of this film to really understand what I feel. Like that's what I feel like with something like this. Like, so like not like this, but your description of Monty Python, the Holy Grail, like you like it, but you don't, you're not into it. Like, do you think that you need to go back to that and watch it again?
Sure. It wasn't that I wasn't into it. It's just that when I watched it, my opinion was, well, this isn't the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because the build up to it, it's like, you're going to be staring into the face of comedy God. And it's just like, when you build something up like that, and like Elise has built up the violence in this movie for so long, and maybe I've just watched too many, messed up things, that it's just like I mean, Viggo Mortensen is not putting a hook on someone's head and pulling it through the hole in their chest like in A Violent Nature. Obviously, that's not happening. So I get it. And I think Eastern Promises has more violent stuff too, where it's just like, especially the bathhouse scene in Eastern Promises. I mean, there's a couple like when he bashes that guy's nose into his brain. That's pretty horrifying.
The difference between yes, agreed. But that violence is between two guys in a violent world. Like that's the world they live in. With a history of violence, it's the fact that Tom Stahl is somebody who has left that world and he's in a world where violence is not. This is not where violence lives,
right?
And he's in Middle America, and his act of violence and I know you know this. I'm just saying this. His act of violence in the diner sets off a chain of events where violence now comes to this town, where his son. Initially, when you see him in the locker room, when he's getting teased, and I'll get to that scene, when he's getting teased, he deflects and he tries to be funny because he doesn't want to get involved. But when how it happens in the diner, now his son, it almost like it's an infection. And now his son has that violent infection and he lashes out and he beats the crap out of the kid in the middle of the hallway. So it's a commentary on just how, once violence starts, you can't put it back in the bag. Once the cat's out, you can't put it back. And I think that's what this movie is about. One of the many themes it's about. So, and I get it. It's tough for me to sit here and tell you, if you look at it that way, then it is very violent. yes, we and you have seen movies that have that kind of violence all the time. And we have seen horror films and we've seen films that are just kind of, that's where that world is. It's violent and we're used to that. Somebody like maybe Elise or somebody who has not seen these type of films gets affected a little differently because they are the people in the movie where like, this is not how they live their life. This is not that kind of violent. You know what I mean? Like, I think so. I think that that's where that comes from.
I understand that.
But I don't think I don't view that as a negative on the movie. Like a lot of my notes are, this is my note about the scene in the when he hits the fly ball at the beginning of the film, the two kids, and then they have that fight in the locker room. Right. This movie, the bully is annoying because the bully hits a lazy fly ball to right field and the kid catches it.
Exactly.
He doesn't dive.
How do you think you're getting a home run out of that?
He doesn't dive. He doesn't showboat. Everyone's like not celebrating. And this bully hits a fly ball and it gets caught. It's like, dude, you didn't hit the ball well. And then he comes in the locker room and he's like, he's so annoying. It's so stupid. And the actual move, the scene feels like it's written by somebody who doesn't understand about sports. You know what I mean? It's written and like, this is a dumb thing to fight about, but I understand what the point they're trying to make there is. They're trying to make how like, yes, the violence is infectious. And like, I get it. I understand. While I don't like the execution because it's really phony and doesn't ring true. I understand why it's in there. So that to your point, like, I mean, I get why it's in there. It's just not done great. I don't like it. It makes me hate the bully because I'm just like, you're so stupid.
Any of the scenes with the bully, I was not a fan of.
He plays it well.
Oh yeah, he's a douche.
Just his motivations for being a jerk make no sense.
It's also like a pickup game. It's like they're the same. It's just a gym class.
Yeah.
And Jack, right? The kid, the son.
Yes.
Yeah. Jack is basically like, badoo. Like he doesn't even want to be in outfield, and he still act like the ball could have almost hit him in the head. He was just like, what?
He doesn't pass a comment. He doesn't say anything to the ball to show him up. He catches the ball.
He's just like, oh,
he doesn't even move. That's how bad
he doesn't take a step.
That's how stupid the hit was. It was just a fly ball that goes nowhere, and he was just like, oh, boop. Like he had to be so bad to miss it.
And meanwhile, his goons are like, yeah, you did it.
Yeah, it's
preposterous.
It's dumb and annoying, and then when they show him later, he shows like, at night and they're all driving around.
Oh, he's gonna get
and
it.
He cuts off the real bad guys that we find out later go to the diner and he gives them flips them the bird. He's like, and he's just so stupid.
They're just staring at him.
Yeah. I understand the bully being there. I know why the bully's there. The actor itself does a good job. It's just the motivation for the bully to be a bully is just, it makes no sense. It's really just makes no sense.
So I get what you're saying about the theme being infectious.
Violence is infectious. Yeah.
Yeah. Violence is infectious. I get the theme that they're trying to go for. I just think that it needs to be more powerful. So I'm going to talk about the two in the beginning that kick off everything. Right.
I think they're pretty scary because they shut that girl in the face.
That was the one scene I did not like.
Oh. They didn't
show it, but he did it.
But that tells you like these guys mean business.
Right. And that starts a chain of events that like, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this film will be as violent as I think when you kill a kid right off the bat. But as I'm watching it, then it never gets to those heights again. But I will say about those two guys, the younger guy looks like he should be Viggo Mortensen's brother. Like looks like a younger Viggo Mortensen. And I thought,
Brian Burke?
I thought it was a flashback. And I was like, okay, so this is him before he's, because I kind of knew the plot of the film. So, okay, this is what he was like when he was a bad guy. And then, nope, okay. Well, then maybe he's his brother. Maybe it'll come back around and it's revealed that he's part of his crime ring. Nope, they're just two really bad people. All right.
The whole idea of Tom Stahl, Joey Cusack, who he talks about how he walks out into the desert and he comes back and
like a year he said he spent in the
3
desert?
years.
3 years.
I mean, that would be metaphorically, but he, whatever.
3 years in hell, basically.
He comes back and he's like, he has left that world behind, and the violence in the beginning is, that doesn't like kick off like he just goes on a murdering spree. He does, but that his press brings people, that notoriety brings his old pals out. And the only way he's going to get out of that is to actually finish it.
Yeah.
Well, with more violence.
Of course.
Yeah.
No barbed wire to the eye though, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
I will say also that beginning shot, like I was like, oh man, this is a full tracking shot. This is one shot.
Yeah.
And then they cut when they go into the motel. And I really would have, and maybe the motel room didn't look good enough. I really would have loved if the camera followed into the motel and kept that one shot going.
They probably don't have enough money for that. Or they probably didn't have that was a dolly shot. So that's not really there was
you can't really go in and go handheld.
And yes, that's the hotel from Schitt's Creek again, from Existenz. So they're shooting the same spots. The Cronenberg.
Oh, it was a motel from Existenz too.
That's remember in Existenz. Was it Existenz? What's the other Cronenberg film we did? Yeah, when I said, "Oh, that's the hotel from Schitt's Creek." I'm pretty sure that's the hotel from Schitt's Creek when they're hiding. Yeah, that was, and he uses the same hotel in this movie.
The mansion at the end, Richie's mansion, I'm pretty sure is the same mansion that they use at the end of Punisher season 2.
If it's in Toronto, that's where well, not Toronto, but Ontario.
Ontario is where they shot.
Because they shot this because Millbrook is actually a town in Ontario, Canada.
They took the name, yeah.
And then they shot obviously the mansion in that same area, Ontario. So if it is, then yeah.
I was like, this is where he kills the 2 rich people.
Hey, that's fine.
I was like, cool.
And that's it.
That's all I got.
All right, so what do you think about? It's not because I don't know. Like I'd like to get your thoughts on what you think is going to happen at the end after he sits down at the dinner table. But I wanted to ask you what you thought about the whole relationship between him and Edie, and when this happens, kind of the deterioration of their happy life. Like, what did you think about all that with the family?
I liked how that was handled.
Right.
Obviously, I do think Jack kind of. You just found out your father's a mob guy, murderer. You're really talking back to a guy who's killed people like fairly recently. I'd be a little bit more. And Jack,
who thinks that their father's going to kill them?
Well,
though?
I mean, he's obviously at the beginning, he's kind of meek and whatever. And I know violence is infectious, but beating up that bully doesn't mean you're gonna stand toe to toe with your dad. So I wasn't really a big fan of the amount of anger that he has toward his father, but obviously that not the amount of anger he had toward his father, but the amount of anger he showed toward his father. The amount of anger he had was correct. And I like Edie's reaction to it. Like she doesn't out him right away. She doesn't go to the cop. She actually defends him when the sheriff comes and wants answers. She starts crying. She scares him away. Mm-hmm. Like she doesn't know what to do because Tom Stahl, they've been together for who knows how long.
Well, Jack's 16, 17. So they've been at least together 18, 20 years.
Yeah. Fogarty says that he spent more time as Tom Stahl than he probably has as Joey Cusack. So
probably 20 years, 20 something years. Yeah.
So this is a man that she's fell in love with. Like she says, she took his name. I love the line. Where'd Stahl even come from? It was available.
My comment was I was waiting for the quote, I was on the toilet in a bathroom stall, and it came to me.
That would have been awesome.
Why would he say that? But yeah,
I love it was available.
Yeah.
I think all that's correct. Their sex scene on the stairs. I it's all kind of appropriate reactions. That's still the violence is still on the steps that even invades, their love life. So I did like the family stuff. I love the end scene when he comes home after he finishes it, and you don't you want to get into it. We can get into it from here.
Yeah, you can go.
So we get into the dinner scene. Edie, Jack, and the daughter are all having dinner with the world's weirdest thing of meatloaf.
That's huge. I mean, it looked good, but that meatloaf is big.
And at first, no one knows how to react. No one knows what to do now that Joey is back.
It's always Stahl. Come on, he's always Tom Stahl.
And the daughter comes and sets his plate down. He sits at the table, doesn't even take his jacket off. They stare at each other. Edie's praying or talking to herself.
I don't know what she does when she puts down her hand. I don't know what she does there.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that direction. And then Jack eventually hands him the meatloaf because what else are you going to do? He's gonna kill you if you don't. The man's hungry.
Well, you know what I find not funny, but interesting is that in the credits, he's still Tom Stahl. They don't say Tom Stahl, Joey Cusack. I'm the one that put so in the credits, in terms of the filmmakers, he's Tom Stahl.
He's Tom Stahl.
Yeah.
So the question is, Edie looks up and looks at him with tears in his eyes, and he's all kind of afraid. I imagine that relationship doesn't last. I think that's tough. You know what he is. You know what he's done.
I think
that's a strained relationship at best.
I honestly don't know, but he's going to have to tell her what his life was like. He's going to have to share with her.
Oh, all the truth has to come out.
And if he does that and she want, like that, she hears that. I don't know. I kind of think, they would still stay together. I mean, it's tough to break up a marriage like that when you're,
it's 20 years in
and you're in, you fell in love with a person who he still is who he is. That old life he left behind. He may had to become Joey for a week or a couple days to finish it. But if he just, he returned.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer to this, but let's look at Ransom.
Okay.
Where we said that there's no way Rene Russo is staying with Mel Gibson after the events of Ransom.
Right.
How is that different than Edie and Tom Stahl then?
Well, because in Ransom, Mel Gibson's character puts his kid in potential danger. He says like, I'm not going to pay you. And, he doesn't know that those killers are going to kill his kids. In this one, yes, violence has come to the town and and yes, they have Jack and they hold him, right? And they're going to give him up, but he protects his family. And what he does goes out and finishes off the potential danger of that he brought upon the family, but he goes and takes care of it. He doesn't put his son at risk. Like he doesn't risk his son's life with an act that he does in the moment. It's his past that's putting his family in jeopardy, and he's trying to fix it and make it right and handle it. Where you know what I mean?
I get you.
Like he doesn't set up Jack as bait so that he can take out Fogarty.
So Tom Stahl decides, all right, I'm going to become Joey Cusack again. Go after Richie.
Well, he's going to go. He wants to go have peace. I take that back because he goes there to get peace.
He goes to be like, what can I do to make things better? He goes to do a job, probably.
Right.
He thinks if he could do a job,
whatever it is, he wants to know what he has to do
to get peace.
Yeah.
But. And again, I'm just hypostulating. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't
know if hypostulating is a word.
It's not a word. It's a word I just made up. He goes to Richie. He gets killed. Now there's no one to protect his family.
Sure. Well, why would they go back?
He's left his family defenseless.
Why would they go after his family?
Because they're bad people.
There's no reason why they would go after his family. There's no reason.
They took his son. They already the main. They
took his son because they want him to come back with him. They took his son to show him, hey, listen, let's do this. Let's make a trade. You're putting information in there that is not in the movie. Like you're assuming that they're going to, all right, we got Joey, go kill his family now. They're not doing that.
Make an example of them.
Why? Well, make an example of who? Richie tells him that everyone's just waiting for him to fall. Like he tells him what you did put me in a tough spot. I was never going to be made man. I had to work back and still they're just waiting for me to fail. So now nobody knows Joey's there. He shows up and he kills them all. The big boss is going to be like, oh man, someone took out Richie. Oh, well, divvy up his stuff. It's ours now. They're not going to go look for the guy that killed him.
You don't think they also know that he killed Fogarty though?
No. How would they know that?
I don't know. Because
they called it in, so Fogarty dies out. Yeah, okay, so that could be something. But
again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Sure.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Right. I think you need more information within the movie to really kind of see where that's going to go. Maybe the history of violence now, like I said, the cat's out of its bag and it's going to happen, and it's not going to. Maybe it won't be the end.
Stop it.
Right. I mean, I don't want a sequel. I don't really want to know what happens next. I kind of like the story that was told, but I could see somebody. It's like one of those, if you went back and did a sequel, it almost ruins the first movie because it's almost like John Wick, where John Wick, it just keeps going.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think obviously that didn't ruin the first John Wick, but I'm saying
in this movie,
it would just kind of like you I think if you're watching the film, you want the family to stay together. So But if you do a sequel, that's not going to happen because the violence is still going to keep coming. And
it's going to end up becoming an action movie. It can't not become an action movie at that point.
So I don't want that. I like the open-endedness of the end of the movie because you don't know what's going to happen.
I really like the end of the movie. Yeah. I like the look that Viggo Mortensen gives, where it's sad and afraid.
Well, because he doesn't know.
Want to lose his family, and he doesn't understand know what Edie's reaction is.
I have no idea what her reaction is.
Exactly. I think that's a really good ending.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Now, here's a question that does have an answer. Why is he washing up in the lake behind the mansion when there's showers in the mansion? Just clean yourself up and put on new clothes.
Because he's from
the streets of Philly, and this is how we do it.
He's from the Midwest. Yeah, he's dirty. I don't know. I don't know why I don't know. Maybe he just walks out. Well, he just killed his brother.
It's a Jesus moment.
He did just kill his brother.
So maybe he's baptizing himself back into Tom Stoll.
He knows to throw the gun in the water so that nobody knows it's him. But I mean, I hope he doesn't leave his bloody shirt.
Just take these clothes.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a scene to do. Maybe they just thought it'd be better that way. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I can't answer. That doesn't have an answer because I don't know.
That's silly.
He just killed his brother. I mean, maybe he's just in a daze because he killed his brother. I like when he gets out of the hospital after killing the two people in the diner. And everyone's there like, hey, way to go, Tommy. Like, he just murdered two people. Like, way to go.
Yeah, people that really deserve it, though. Two people that really deserve it.
Well, let me get to some reviews. Even though you kind of about this film, I'm going to give you 2 reviews that love it. Your boy Ebert.
Well, that means you knew I wasn't going to like it because you always give me reviews.
No, that's not what that means. Those are the older reviews are all good. Ebert, A History of Violence seems deceptively straightforward, coming from a director with Cronenberg's quirky complexity. But think again. This is not a movie about plot, but about character. Butler, is it about character?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about character.
Yeah.
The plot's simple.
Peter Travers from the Rolling Stones says that the movie has, quote, explosive power and subversive wit, and lauds David Cronenberg as a world-class director at the top of his startling creative form. Ooh, big words.
I don't know.
I know you. What other Cronenberg films have you seen? Eastern Promises, Crash, The Fly, Videodrome, this movie,
Existence. Probably more.
Did you see Dead Ringers?
No, I didn't even know that was him. Scanners is Cronenberg too, right?
Yes.
Scanners. I've seen my fair share of Cronenberg.
I think this Dead Zone. Did he do the Dead Zone? I do not know.
I think I might be wrong about that.
I think this is one of the more one of the more
subversive.
No. I was
subtle.
I was gonna say contemporary films of Cronenberg. It's not like, not want to say normal, but one of the more I guess more studio-like, more.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think this and Eastern Promises are definitely the 2 most studio films I think I've seen him do.
Right. I mean, he's done a lot of films recently that and about body dysmorphia, about like, you know, the human body. That's
I still want to see that last one that you saw
with Viggo Mortensen, where he's like making the
the plastic surgery and stuff.
What's the name of that movie? I can't remember. He just came out with something 2 years ago, The Shrouds. Where it's about.
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. I'm going to check that out. And he also did one like 10, 15 years ago about Freud and Carl Jung and like how they.
Oh, that was his?
Michael Fassbender. And yeah.
I do remember. I remember that movie coming out.
Yeah. Keira Knightley's in that.
Yeah. Look at him going studio. Well, maybe as he gets older, he doesn't want to do as many weirdo things.
What?
He wants to explore
weird.
Well, I think he likes weird too. He's still doing the body, but he probably wants to explore other things that he's always wanted to talk about.
So speaking of Cronenberg, he told Ebert that the title for this film has 3 levels. Did you see this note?
I did. I like that note.
Okay. So 1, it refers to a suspect with a long history of violence. 2, it refers to the historical use of violence as a means of settling disputes. And 3, it refers to the innate violence of Darwinian evolution, in which better adapted organisms replace those less able to cope. So that's what that title is. But yeah, and you can kind of find pieces of that in the movie.
Yeah, I think the movie does explore all 3 of those for sure. Yeah,
like, you know, yeah. So, and obviously the history of violence obviously centers around Tom Stoll and Joey Cusack, or they're the same people.
Right.
Yeah. Something I didn't know was that the diner scenes are all on a soundstage. Did you know that?
I saw that, and then they built the street behind.
Well, like the outside, so like
I thought that was cool. Through the glass.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back and actually look at the film because I thought that was really cool that they built this downstage and they built the fake street. So they had the car. I thought that was like, I'm like, wow.
I thought that was impressive too.
And they lit for night and day and whatnot. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. The other note I liked, or I found interesting, was that there were scenes in the script that like the violence was more.
Yes,
but he toned it. Cronenberg, actually, of all people, decided to tone it down because he didn't want to glorify the violence.
Well, he kills people. Like he kills one guy by punching his nose bone, his nasal bone right into his brain
numerous times.
Then he kills another guy by basically crushing his throat with his boot.
That is awesome. And the foot stomp is still like, you can see the impression.
So like when Joey Cusack fights, he is fighting to kill you. Like it's not just like a couple punches, stay down. He is, it's going to end.
The choreography is quick. It's over.
He's all about putting it down and putting you down, and that's it. You're going to die. So don't even bother fighting him.
How'd the garrote guy, he just gets hit in the throat, right?
He rolls back and then I think he shoots him. No, he hits him in the throat and he goes down. And then
Richie is the one
that shoots him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was surprised he toned it down. I'm curious, and I didn't go looking for it online, but I guess there's a deleted scene where Tom has a nightmare. And
it's a dream sequence. Yeah.
Yeah. Who does he shoot? I don't remember.
So it's Fogarty.
Okay.
Tells Tom that he's going to kill his family, and Tom responds by shooting him with a shotgun at close range. And then as he approaches Fogarty's like mangled body, and Fogarty raises a gun and shoots him.
And you see that the shot is like through his rib cage.
Well, no, they joked about the crew wanted them to.
He cut it because it was too much like Videodrome.
Yeah.
That's why it was cut. But I guess it was done because he said it's a deleted scene.
Yeah, and in the European version, there's more graphic violence. When we talked about when he steps on the guy's throat, there's more crunching sounds in that. So there's a little bit added stuff.
I'm surprised the European version allowed more violence because usually they're more.
Yeah, they're more good with sex
and less of violence.
Which I'm sorry, but like sex on the stairs is not comfortable.
Well, I guess I read, which I thought was interesting, is Cronenberg felt bad about that scene. He wanted to get them stunt pads.
Yes.
Which the stuntman laughed about because he's never had to have stunt pads for a sex scene.
Yeah.
But I guess Maria Bello, like the bruises on her are real.
No, I think the cut that they show on her back is fake, but they had to use makeup to hide the bruises.
Hide the real bruises.
Because you're doing that scene over and over again.
Yeah, it's like an all day
right. And I know that scene gets a lot of flack because people were saying, like you said, Elise said it was rapey. Yeah, but I think that's what she's talking about.
Cronenberg doesn't like it because it's like she pulls him in, and she does.
That's why she kisses him.
She pulls him into it and starts it. Yeah.
So if they didn't have that, yes, it would be. Yeah, you would see how people would be upset. But
that thing I like about that scene, like I said, is it shows that the violence is not only infected their regular life, it's infected their love life as well. It's just now part of everything.
And that's a major reason why I really like this movie. So I mean, I know I kind of Devin said that, and while you're met on the film, I am really high on this movie. This is one of my favorite Cronenberg films.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean, I really love Eastern Provinces.
I know you don't like Crash. I like Crash, but I have to study Crash. So my class got really into Crash.
Sure.
So I think I'm like, it's ingrained for me to like Crash.
Crash just felt, I mean, and I haven't seen Crash in forever. Crash just felt very all over the place, but that's fine.
It's a really early,
and I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since it came out, so I could be wrong. I could watch it again, but when I watched The History of Violence when it first came out, I remember really liking it, and so watching it again, I was into it again, and I'm a big fan of this film. I'm a big fan of what Cronenberg is doing, and like I said, even my notes where like the complaint I have about the bully and all that stuff, and that scene, I understand why it's there. A lot of this movie, I fight against my already perceived perceptions or perceived ideals and ideologies of like me and how I believe and what I've seen in movies and all the stuff that I've seen. I have to fight that because I'm trying to focus on like what this story is trying to tell. And to your point about it being 96 minutes, it's a perfect example of a simple story works on so many levels. You don't need to get convoluted with 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's a thriller drama. And I can see this in any other person's hands. I mean, the original script was 120 pages. And any other person says, I could see this being like a 215.
Yep.
And I don't know what in the 215 you need to put in there that you can't do in this hour and a half.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When you said like, when I saw that it was 96 minutes, I was really surprised because I would expect this to be 2:15. I was like, wow, this is short.
Yeah.
Like I was ready to hunker down when I watched this movie, and I was really surprised. And like you said, it tells an actual concise story within that time where it's no frills. Another movie would go, let's explore the sheriff looking into Tom Stahl. Let's cut away to this. What's Edie's day job? Let's go see that. And it's just like, you don't need any of
Let's see the violence affect Edie in other ways and stuff like that.
Yeah, she slaps her secretary.
Speaking of the sheriff, I mean, you got to be better at your job. If a woman starts crying, you're just like, forget it. I'm not good. Nothing makes sense, Tom.
Tom, I'm pretty sure you might be
you're Joey.
Murderer.
How could you?
Oh, a woman crying.
Sorry, Edie.
I'll
give that up.
I'll go
away.
I also like the idea that Edie's standing at the front door with a shotgun and Jack's just eating cereal. Like
he's in there. Like, hey guys, what's going on? But to the point of what we're talking about, runtime, the last 10, 15 years, I've really kind of solidified this feeling for me. A movie should be like 90 to 100, 110 minutes. Like, I don't know if epics are like The Brutalist. I liked The Brutalist, but that's an epic. And that's the expectation of an epic is to be that long.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a movie like this or a horror film or just a comedy.
A horror film should never be more than 100 minutes.
No, there's no reason. If you've got all these ideas, save it for the sequel and just make the first film as great as possible. Or if you have all these ideas, then go write a 6-episode miniseries. But like, I just don't get it anymore.
Well, I think that's something that I was actually just going to bring up to you, like just off camera, was just like, you posted about the new Mission Impossible, which I'm sure is already out by the time this episode comes out, is like what, 248 or something like that. It's
without
just like,
trailers.
Why are movies failing? Because no one wants to sit in a movie theater for 3 hours. There's like the thought of all these directors in the studios, and I've seen it in countless quotes, is, well, if you can sit down and watch your Netflix show for binge a Netflix show for 7 episodes, you can sit through a 3-hour movie. No. I'm at home when I'm watching that, and I can stop, go to the bathroom.
Can I wear my pajamas at the theater?
Yeah, can I pause the movie and go, sorry, everybody, I got to go pee real quick.
Exactly.
You can't do that at the theater. The theater is made for concise, you're with these people for 2 hours and you get out with a shared
Can you watch
experience.
the film and stop it and be like, hey, let's go get some dinner. I'll finish up when we get back. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So don't...
Like, I'm not excited for the 2-hour, 48-minute mission.
But here's the thing. I really want to give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt. But when I hear stuff like that, and people, I just like the disconnect with how people in the biz watching movies and how regular people watch movies in their regular life, worrying about paying bills, having to work, worrying about, I got to cut the grass. I got to take the kids there. I got to take the kids there. I'm sorry, but we don't have, cars at the ready. We don't have a team of people that work for us. We don't have assistants that help us with our schedule. I mean, wake up. Like that disconnect is just maddening. And I remember way back when I was hoping to be a filmmaker and tell movies and stuff, and realizing that it's a rich person's game. It's like, I didn't grow up where like my parents made enough money where I could just, F off for the first 5 years of my life, in terms of like when I left college and and have a trust fund and be able to just, let's make a movie. And
I had people in my class who were like that. Were like, oh yeah, the first 2 years my parents are paying for my apartment in New York. And
we didn't like. I had to shoot.
Good for you. I go back home and go to work at the theater.
Exactly. I had to shoot Save the Forge, which was the first movie we did. I had 2 weeks off from work. The third week we shot, I was working. I was actually working at the theater and then leaving to go shoot like the movie. So it's frustrating when I hear stuff like that, and it's mind-boggling when I hear stuff like that. But like, it's not a middle class filmmakers are very rare, and it's always refreshing when you have people who are making movies. That's why I love indie films so much, because that's the people that make indie films that are like struggling. Yes. That are continuing to make struggling. Some people, sure, those people, some of those indie filmmakers are obviously from rich parents and all that stuff. But people that understand that don't have the disconnect, I gravitate towards their movies a little bit better. And I love when I hear that. And there are out there. I don't want to paint everyone with a big broad brush and stuff like that, but it's really frustrating when I hear stuff like that, because it's just get a clue.
In summary, movies should not be more than 2 hours unless they're epics.
Yeah, epics. That's the expectation with epics.
Chris Nolan's Odyssey, 3 hours, perfectly
God.
fine.
Nice.
Mission
We'll
Impossible
see.
8, not 248. The new Final Destination better be 90 minutes.
Bloodlines. Probably 215.
Anyway, that's where we're at.
All right, Mike. Then where would you recommend this film, or who would you recommend this film to?
People that like Cronenberg, people who I'd be curious to like show this people who just really love action movies and see what they think about it. See if they get it. It's got to be an adult. It's got to be. I think that. I mean, I know it affected Elise, which is cool, but I think that Elise was a lot smarter than a lot of people like that were our age back then, and she watched a lot more grown up stuff. I don't think you show this to a high schooler. I don't even think most college kids. I think you got to be in your late 20s, your 30s, older. Really appreciate that
noise.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's who I would recommend it to.
So I would say I would recommend this to anybody. I would recommend this to a lot of people who like film. And I would say that David Cronenberg's filmography, which you should watch, is more on the art side. That when you talk about how filmmaking is an art and craft, like, you know, there's craftsmen, there's people who are craftsmen at storytellers. I would consider myself a craftsman more than an artist. I mean, there's a differentiation. But I would view Cronenberg as a little bit of both. I think he is on the art side a little bit more. So I think his movies all have a general theme and tone, and his films are well thought out. We haven't even talked about Cosmopolis. I don't know if you saw that one.
I didn't see Cosmopolis.
So like his films, yes, are deal a lot of stuff with the human body because that's like his focus in terms of like his interest. He talks about how he's not an atheist, but he believes like the human form is like as godlike as possible. He talks about like that, like the human form is like something that is fascinating with him, and a lot of his movies are like that. So I think
we talk about that next.
Yeah, but I would definitely recommend, like, if you're going to watch a Cronenberg film, I think you need to watch more than one. I think if you're going to watch David Cronenberg, you need to watch 4 or 5. So I think this is a good entry into Cronenberg. So I would recommend it if that's you're interested, and then from there you can kind of get into like you know the weird Cronenberg stuff, which is always fascinating.
Videodrome.
Everybody always hears about scanners and Videodrome and stuff like that. So yeah, like that
I think Videodrome is kind of like the epitome of Cronenberg's work.
But like 80s horror, like people always talk about that. Yeah. So no, I would definitely recommend this. Definitely to cinephiles, definitely to people who like film. I think I've talked about the show. I like weird. Weird is interesting. And I don't ever view weird. And if I ever call you weird, it is not an insult. It's a compliment. I am not interested in the norm. I'm not interested in just, the basics of the people who are just like the basic people and just kind of like, whatever. So, I would definitely recommend this to people just because I would recommend this to people who like regular films, and I would just to mess with them, be like, hey, watch some Cronenberg.
Well, that's why I would say like watch if you're like love action movie, watch History of Violence.
Yeah, I would just be like, why don't you recommend that? I'd be like, oh yeah, like I would recommend. People like want to know a window into my soul and like what I like. Like, here you go, watch this. But yeah, so why it's forgotten though, because like it's considered one of the great films of 2000. Like I said, everyone's on their top 10 list. It's a big film. Why is it forgotten?
I feel like
age 20 years. This is 20th anniversary.
It's his 20th anniversary. Cronenberg has such a varied filmography, and like you said, people gravitate toward The Fly, Videodrome, Scanners. But I think Scanners is pretty forgotten now, other than the brain blowing up. Is like the only thing that people really know about Scanners. I would even say Scanners is a forgotten film. We could put that on the list. Hell, I think Videodrome for a lot of people younger than us is probably on the list. But I think that those movies have had, like, this is 20 years old. Those have 30, 40 years of just people talking about them and building them up and like being, Rick and Morty made the joke about like the Cronenbergian monsters. Like that is so now his thing that I think that with History of Violence and Eastern Promises, and I don't know if this is why we said Eastern Promises was forgotten, it's not quote unquote Cronenberg enough when people think about Cronenberg. Plus, I just think, age and other movies coming after it. I think when you think Viggo Mortensen, you think Aragorn, and he's the big star in it. I think
people are there for Lord of the Rings, not
true. That's true. But if you're thinking Viggo Mortensen, you're not thinking that. Where did it all go?
Well, I don't think Viggo Mortensen Viggo Mortensen, and I don't even think he gives a crap about this. Isn't in a people aren't going to a film to see Viggo Mortensen,
right?
But he is extremely respected in Hollywood and in filmmaking because he is very good at what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he has no interest in
being a superstar.
Yeah, he wants to do stuff that challenges him. Like we talk about in Eastern Promises, how he went into Russia to learn like the dialect to live with people. In this one, he took a trip across the Midwest to kind of like get a sense of the idea of like what it is like to live in a small town. He was staying with Maria Bello and her brother or something, to get the Philadelphia accent, just to get that Philadelphia accent for those dialogue scenes.
For the 2 scenes there.
Yeah. So like he is somebody who lives in that craft and lives in that art. So that's all, I like Viggo Mortensen quite a bit. And so, but again, putting butts in the seats, I don't think that's somebody who does that. Yeah. That's just how it is. All right. Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You're watching, listening to us, be rating us right now. Why don't you go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, comment. What's your favorite Cronenberg film? What do you think about the violence level in A History of Violence? If you like us, and you want to hear more about us, if you want exclusive episodes, early access to episode, Discord access, you want merch discounts, you want stickers, join our Patreon. We got all this stuff. We also had the merch page. You can just go right on to. It should be in the show notes wherever you're watching this. Go check that out.
Right. And join us next week as we're going to 1993. We're going to watch the Stephen Hopkins directed Judgment Night. Do you remember this at all?
Not at all. No, we've talked about it. I have no clue.
Let me see. Let me read a group of friends on the run from a gang of drug dealers led by Dennis Leary after they witness a murder. These guys are going to Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Stephen Dorff, Jeremy Piven, I think, going to a boxing match, and they pull off the side of the road or something, and they see a murder, and then that's it. It's like that. That's it. This is interesting. Judgment Night, one of the big things Judgment Night has for is the soundtrack. Because I used to own the soundtrack. Actually, I probably still have it here. So like the soundtrack has a ton of films from the 90s, like ton of music from the 90s. So yeah, that's why. But anyways, that's next week, Judgment Night. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.